Today, every day, small cap investors visit Agoracom knowing this is the day to discover the world's next great company, to have their dreams come true. That's why I take to the open road, to find them, to tell their stories, to engage them, to bring them to life, because they want to connect with you from your office, your phone, your home, anywhere. Agoracom, find your dream.
Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives about recent important news. And there's a big one out today. With us to talk about is Paul Gill. He's CEO at Lomiko Metals. The company trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol LMR. For our friends in the US, it's on the QB under LMRMF. And for our friends in Germany on Frankfurt under DH8B. Now, before we get to the interview, for those of you who knew the story, it's going to be a lot of you. Lomiko is in the midst of proving up a very high-grade graphite deposit. It's the La Loutre flake graphite property, which is just 120 kilometers north of Montreal. It's got an indicated resource, about 18.5 million tons of 3.19%. That's just in the graphene battery zone. New drill results came out a couple of weeks ago from the refractory zone that doubled the strike length of the new high-grade zone. Hit about 88 meters of 7.14%, and more great results today. Paul, let's talk about it. Welcome back.
Thanks, George. Thanks for having me on.
Well, congratulations on this morning's news. I'm going to touch a little bit on the first drill hole. It was only one hole that you released, but it's an important one because it set the edge for this deposit. So let's talk about that one, the importance of it for people to really understand at home in layman's terms.
Yeah, it's very important. We had two very good holes in 2016, 14.5% over 110 meters and 135 meters of 7% plus. And that was a very good result. But that was right at the end of our drill campaign. Now we've started another 21 holes. And the first hole reported happened to be the one almost furthest away. So we're looking at that very significant chunk, and beyond just the 7% section, there's another section in those results that are high grade in the teens, and that's really the stuff we're looking for. But that is 450 meters away on a southeast trend. So the both deposits, the graphene battery zone and the refractory zone, run northwest to southeast. They're about 2 kilometers long, it seems. Wow. Now. And what we're doing for the rest of the drill results is we're reporting in between the two high-grade results we've already reported. So it's a really great situation. We think we have a very significant discovery here of graphite, and it's not located in Mozambique or Sri Lanka or Madagascar. It's here in Canada, good old Quebec.
Well, let's talk about some of the results today then, those the next four holes. You know, what kind of numbers were you hitting, and did that meet your expectations or exceed your expectations? Because obviously you guys were very confident going into this.
Yeah, I would say right now it's meeting expectations. We're seeing 110 meters of 5% approximately. We're seeing another chunk of about 45 meters of 7%. We have 21 meters of 17, 11 meters of 15. Those are the kinds of numbers that you need to really prove out tonnage and grade, because both are very significant in this situation. You want to be able to prove up a nice high grade, large tonnage deposit.
And kind of define high grade for people who don't, because let's face it, most people watching at home, as you said, a deposit in Montreal is different from a deposit in Mozambique in terms of grade and things like that. So you're talking about some nice percentages there. What is, what's almost the baseline that you would have been happy with, or that a project would be viable at, and how much higher above are you than normal?
Yeah, right now the baseline, the least acceptable, is about 5%. That's where You have Nouveau Mons in there for about 90 million tons, I believe, of 5%, with a core of a little bit higher. You've got Northern Graphite with a large deposit, but it's a little bit lower grade. Mason Graphite is up around 17% on an average, and that's one of the highest grades in Canada. But you look at companies like SRG over in Africa and Syrah, they're looking at 5 or 6% over a large tonnage. Graphite One up in Alaska, you're looking at some very decent grades up there. But again, location is everything. So you got to have the right graphite mix of tonnage and grade and location. Because really, if you have something that's located at the end of the earth, it's going to cost a lot to get that transported over. And it's also a risk. Political risk is a reality in this world. We have to understand that. And it's very important that if we have a supply, if we're supplying electric vehicle battery materials to companies that are depending on it, they're going to want to guarantee that we can deliver the material. And if you're located in a location where there's political unrest, you just can't sign contracts like that. I don't think Tesla would want to sign a contract with someone who might or might not deliver. So, because it's not that critical to them what the price is. It's not the issue. It's about the guarantee that you can get the product.
And the last time I looked, 120 kilometers north of Montreal seems to be pretty politically stable to me at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, right near the port of Montreal. It's a half-day trip down, and don't forget that Imerys Carbon and Graphite's already proven that they can operate for 20 years at 7%, 7.74%, and they only had 5 million tons. So there's a lot bigger market coming here. I mean, remember, there's 71 mega factories being built around the world, 5 or 6 in North America. But those 5 or 6 are going to require at least 2 or 3, if not 4 mines in North America to supply the factories here. We're certainly not going to get material from China. It's getting its supply from Sri Lanka and other places like that, and it's chewing up internal supply. So I think we've got a very nice road here that's paved ahead of us, and all we have to do is prove that we've got some high grade, high tonnage, and have low sulfur content, because low sulfur content helps the deposit cost. We don't have to put lining on the tailings pond. We can use the waste material for road building. Some of the issues in some of the other deposits in Canada is the sulfur content. So I think we've got a lot of check marks here. We just got to get to the resource in the next little while here, and it's coming up fast. And we'll be set to get right into the pre-economic assessment.
And that's what I want to talk about. So you've obviously got some great results in terms of grade. By your own account, you talked about mega factories going up all over the world, including North America. So how confident are you that La Loutre is even going to be able to support this burgeoning, massive, growing industry? Do you have the tonnage? Will you have the tonnage? How do you feel about that?
Well, think about this. This is something I want people to think about. We've only drilled 2 of 12 anomalies on the property. This is just the start of drilling. I mean, we could spend 10 million drilling and still not get to the end of it. So we're not doing that. All we're doing is proving up these 2 areas so that we can get a world-class deposit out of 2 out of 10 anomalies. So yeah, what we think we can do is have a very high grade, very large tonnage per year mine. If we get to 1 million tons a year being produced, that means at a 10% level, we're producing 100,000 tons of concentrate. Well, a very high grade concentrate. Well, that's a good deposit. 100,000 tons, and if you're making $500 per ton, that's $50 million a year. That is going to be able to pay for your CapEx. So that's you got to have those goals in mind. You have to know where you're headed with this project. And, and I've seen this before. I've seen very good projects before on the copper side with Norsemont. I think we're there. I think we're getting to the point where we can prove everything that we've been working towards, and that's going to be a great day for shareholders and for new investors.
You mentioned that you're in the middle of a 21 hole drill program. You put out 5 holes now. You got 16 more to come. I'll ask you 2 questions there, which is, what's the ETA for the other 16? And then once you've got those in, do you think at that point you'll have enough information on hand to know what you've got in terms of size, in terms of mass and grade, just for those 2 zones?
Yeah, I think that we're going to get all those results out by the end of May. That's our target. We had 2.8 kilometers worth of material to assay. I think we'll be able to prove exactly what we wanted to, which is a resource in double digits, both in tonnage and in grade. That is going to be an eye-opener, because the only other one that's in both double digits in tonnage and grade is Mason Graphite, and their market cap is 75 million, whereas our market cap is somewhere around 3 or 4 million.
Okay, so that sounds like that sounds like you're going to be back a lot in the month of May, because we're already a few days into it, and you got 60 more holes. If everything comes back as planned, what do you do at that point? Do you do you start reaching out for potential supply agreements, saying, look, this is what we got, or do you want to keep drilling? What's the plan at that point?
Yeah, I think the number one goal is to get the financing done for the PEA after we have a resource. So that'll lock us in as to getting the road paved. And then at the PEA stage, we're definitely going to be able to reach out and talk to companies in both sides of the market here. People who are upgraders and people who will be able to take that material and upgrade to spherical graphite for electric vehicle anodes, or electrodes for steel making, or for other potential uses. We'll be able to do a full assessment of what the value of the material coming out of the ground is. Because if you convert to graphite anode, that material sells for $10,000 per ton. Now, not all of the material we have is going to be able to be doing that, but even if you do 10 or 15%, that's a nice return. And then you look at electrode material. Well, that'll sell for the 15 to 2,000, and then you've got other material which will sell for a little bit less. So I think that at the end of that, once you have that picture and you have an idea of where your high grades are vis-a-vis the surface, you can start a plan about where you want to dig first, and put that into a PEA, and put the numbers out with all the infrastructure, the cost, and the potential profit. And we're looking at, we want to get a 25-year mine life minimum on this first PEA. Then we're going to the next level, which is, let's drill out some of those other anomalies and prove this out. Even at 25 million tons of material at 10%, you're looking at a multi-billion-dollar project. So that's the goal here. We're not looking for pennies here. We're looking for dollars.
Paul, safe to assume that the battery market is going to be the market you're going to be aiming at, and if so, there are a lot of people aiming at that market. What do you think is going to differentiate you guys?
Well, first of all, we don't have to be the only one here. There's going to be a lot of mines required. Number two, look at the size of this market. I mean, you've got an F-150 coming out that's going to be electric soon. An F-150? I mean, just imagine that. It's almost like
people won't be able to imagine that. To be like, that's the bastardization of F-150s.
It's like the guy saying, I don't know, get a rope. You can't have an electric vehicle that's a truck. But you know what? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And this market is turning. It's getting bigger and bigger. By 2022, we're going to see more and more people in the market. It's really going to take off. I think everyone out there just thinking about it now is contemplating an electric vehicle as their next vehicle. Especially in Vancouver, we've got gas prices that are going through the roof.
And if Jason Kenney locks out British Columbia, you're going to be running for electric vehicles at that point.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's just a reality. Consumers base their decisions upon their personal circumstances at the time. And if circumstances dictate getting an electric vehicle, well, they're going to start thinking about it very hard. I mean, there's not just a Tesla, there's Prius, there's Volt, there's other ones. And, when you think about it, do we really need all of our vehicles to be long range vehicles? We don't. We don't do more than 50 kilometers a day, most of us. It makes sense to have something that costs $2 or $3 a day to charge and runs almost with no working parts other than a couple wheels that turn. Man, that's a great situation. Low maintenance, you can't go wrong. And I think that's a decision that consumers are going to be making day in and day out in the next year or two.
And that's why I love these interviews, because press releases tell one story, the technical details and things like that, but when you come on and add the context as to the market and why the market's going to be a certain way, and letting us know that there are 4 or 5 mega factories going up just in North America alone, right? It just paints such a better picture. So I know you got on with us today because the press release just went out a few hours ago. I appreciate that. Thanks. Congratulations on what you achieved so far. And, we're looking forward to having you back. Don't go too far, because you can be back a lot in the next 3 weeks. So congratulations, Paul, and looking forward to seeing you back with more great results.
Thanks very much, George.
You've been watching Paul Gill. He's CEO at Lomiko Metals, trading the TSX Venture Exchange on the stock symbol LMR. For our friends in the US, LMR MF, and for our friends in Germany on DH8B on the Frankfurt. For those of you who want to do more due diligence, get to Agoracom, punch in the company's name or stock symbol. Read the profile information. Take a look at this interview again. Watch the previous interview that we've already done. And then go ask questions, and you'll get your answers right there. Plus, we got a link over to Lomiko's website if you want to do even deeper due diligence. But Paul's giving you fantastic information, a great head start. Make sure you take advantage of it and do your due diligence. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.